14 fouls on the Nets, 2 on the Knicks in the early going, and Tim Thomas is off the mark. Kenyon Martin on the glass. Only non-starter in there is that man, Rodney Rogers, powering at Muhammad, and a foul is called in the act of shooting. It was the injury to Kenyon Martin and Jason Kidd that gave Rodney Rogers a good run, and he played very well in that stretch.
Yeah, this just, I'm not so sure, and I know that was a bad cut in the catch, but if I'm Nazi Muhammad, I'm very happy that Rodney Rogers is trying to take me inside instead of outside.
Rodney Rogers, who has played in 67 playoff games in his career. When he was a starter, he scored about 6 points more per game and nearly doubled his rebound total as his minutes went up from the 20 he averaged during the regular season.
I think the Nets have been waiting for Rodney Rogers to come out of his shell. I mean, he's been here a couple years and has not really performed at the level that they wanted him to, and they've actually benched him a few times through that stretch.
Nets lead by 2.
I think this playoff series is kind of a showcase for these pieces, and they'll probably be a stimulus to Isaiah, to who they keep and where they go.
Rodney Rogers, launched by former Net Dikembe Mutombo, who's in the line to the front. Soft high release to knock it down and re-extend the Nets lead to 6 One of an NBA's Eastern Conference scout termed it very enlightened way, making the comparisons. These guys have 4 to shoot to get it going, and Rodney Rogers had more time, but it worked out just fine. The Nets a 13-point lead. Stephon Marbury.
They haven't been able to get the fast break points.
Well, and I think that's a bad sign in a sense, too, and you're absolutely right about them keeping them from getting transition baskets, but the Nets have been functioning fairly well in their half-court offense.
There's Rodney Rogers with a 3, and Rodney, who was the 6th man of the year for the Phoenix Suns back in '99 and 2000, makes it a 31-24 lead.
That's a big shot. Rodney struggled a little bit in the first game, but with this lineup that New Jersey has on the floor right now, they're going to take some offense any way they can get it.
Sweetney, the 9th pick in the first round. Williams with the foul.
Yeah, this is kind of a hodgepodge of a lineup that they've got going right now for the New Jersey Nets. And Rodney Rogers steps out, and this is where he's versatile. He can go inside, and he can shoot the 3.
And now coming into the game is going to be Frank Williams, the second-year man from Illinois, who got into that little confrontation. Being diplomatic?
I don't agree with him at all. Williams may not be in the game anymore.
Harris brings it now to Rodney Rogers. Boy, he's launching him, isn't he?
Well, shot clock running down there. Rodney Rogers, I tell you, for a guy 6'7" and 200 and they say 70 pounds right now. I've seen Rodney bigger than he is. He's been up around 300 before. But for a guy that big to have that feathery of a touch, it's just beautiful.
It was a 2. Right now, the Nets on a 7-0 run in this quarter, but they're still down 40-31. Here's Dikembe, poked away by Rodney Rogers. 7 on the shot clock. The veteran backing in with 4. He's going to have to shoot it. 2, tried to go up, stripped. Good defense that time. Up comes to Kenyon Martin. He lost the handle, but somehow Rodney Rogers came up with the ball.
Look what I found. That was look what I found. Kenyon Martin.
Biggest lead of the game for the Nets. Side in game 2 as the Nets are going for their Kurt Thomas has been big in the second half. He has 16 points. We talked about his ability maybe to pick up this team. He has done it. A 10-point game, 2:49 to go in the third. Rodney Rogers with the 3-ball.
And coach, guys, that's why Rodney Rogers is valuable. Kurt Thomas is playing his tail off right now, but Rodney Rogers runs around screens sometimes and can shoot the ball like a 3-man, and Kurt is not used to doing that.
He shoots it so well without putting it on the floor, too.
That's the first field goal for New Jersey in 7 minutes. The time is saved by Shandon Anderson. Kurt Thomas again, and a missed opportunity by the Knicks.
2 tough looks, but you know what Steph's doing right now? He's playing the game the way the point guards need to play this game.
Rodney Rogers has come in and scored 5 points in the critical stage of the game.
So New York has got to stay focused. Against a team like the Nets, they score in spurts. If you lose your defensive concentration, they'll jump back up on you by 10 or 12.
Yeah.
Long 3 by Marbury.
There's Shandon with a good rebound. It went from 10 to 15 just like that.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to definitely stay focused if you're the Knicks.
Stephon is really playing under control right now and playing well. And here's...
See, and this is an example. You've got to be able to pick people up, and that's just a question of focus and concentration. You can't get happy about what happened on the offensive end because these guys will come back at you. You can't get disgusted on the offensive end because the Nets will make you pay.
Boy, they do make you pay, and in a hurry.
The Nets are going to come down and do what they've been doing the entire series. Making traps, getting steals, coming out, turning those steals into fast break baskets. The Knicks have to be smart, control the basketball, get the basketball inside because of how the game is being officiated, particularly early.
Yeah, get to the foul line a little bit. Get your confidence. Get a couple free throws going, and then you can start taking some outside shots. But
here comes Anderson, up and under move. Anderson, who played in a couple of NBA Finals for the Utah Jazz. On the miss, Kidd quickly. Rogers, he's fouled. He'll go to the line.
And that's what the Nets want to do. They want to get it up and down the court.
It was with 2 feet. He just jumped out and reversed and dunked the doggone ball.
And from the other side of the basket, too, Coach.
Well, we have another Knick in foul trouble. Kurt Thomas just picked up his second. And Frank Williams is going to come in, it looks like. Let's see who is Lenny Wilkins going to make a change here as they discuss it on the far side. Frank Williams did such a good defensive job on Jason Kidd in the last game.
I need to point out that Rodney Rogers about 50 pounds ago would have dunked that ball that he had a chance to a minute ago.
Don't mind not getting that to go if you drop 3 guys in the effort of going to the hole.
Right, and what great hands Mike Sweeten's got.
And they love it. I mean, he didn't play much early in the year. He's on the injured list for 3 different stints. But now Lenny Wilkins is getting him some playing time. Rodney Rogers hit it. He thought he was fouled, but no foul. And that 3 now will make it a 1-point lead for the Nets.
And that's where Rodney Rogers is valuable. That's a very tough cover for Mike Sweeten to have to come out and guard a man that has 3 minutes.
I'll take a dozen of them.
8 points tonight for Kenyon Martin as we come back in. Sweetney trying to track him. Rodney Rogers wheels inside, and he's going to go to the free throw line.
That's a great move by Rodney there. Since he had the young player Sweetney on him, and he just turned and wheeled and went hard and aggressive right to the basket.
What's significant about that, that's the 3rd foul on Shandon Anderson. He's going to have to come out of the ball game. And Penny Hardaway will come back in as Rogers at the free throw line.
Well, the smart thing about the Nets team is that they look for inexperience. You know, they don't just come down and play the game. They try to identify where there's an inexperienced player, where there's a height advantage, where there's a speed advantage. And that's extremely a smart way to play the game of basketball.
Rodney Rogers, and as you know, we're headed to the destination finals, getting all access, giving DeMar Johnson some playing time, a guy who came back from that horrific car wreck in September 2002. Shot off balance by Penny. Here they come on the run. Kidd, beautiful pass to Rodney, and as you said earlier, John, they can strike in a hurry.
Got to be careful, boy, because I'm telling you something. The perfect storm will come from this team. They'll come out and hit 2 or 3 baskets and be back in this thing.
That's a 5th assist tonight for Jason Kidd, and Marbury goes baseline, and he's going to be fouled.
You know, the danger of the Nets fast break is not necessarily the score, but the Knicks' reaction to it. The Knicks are down 0-3. If the Nets run off 2 or 3 fast break baskets and the Knicks go into that negative mood swing that they've been into, this thing could be over.
To make the block. And then here we go with the New Jersey Nets fast break. This is what they want. Jason Kidd getting out in the open court and Rodney Rogers making me eat my 50-pound word a few minutes ago, saying he would have dunked it if he was 50 pounds lighter.
Now look at this graphic to show you how effective they are with the fast break. 10 fast break points per game in the regular season against the Knicks, and now in this series they've stepped it up to 23. And they're tied for first in the current playoffs. So when they get out and run, it is damaging.
Larry Brown can keep him on the bench as we come up on 1 minute to play in the 3rd. And then they don't play again until Friday, so he hasn't practiced for the last 10 days, so I'm sure he'll get a couple more days to rest that sore foot. Rogers fouled. He was hacked by Billups. No, they say Campbell on the foul. That's his third. Rodney Rogers to the foul line. 77% free throw shooter.
I think Larry Brown talked a lot about the three-point shot coming early in a shot clock. Really caters to New Jersey. That's the long rebound, the bounce-out rebound that can turn into a fast break, that can turn into some rhythm and some momentum for New Jersey. And I think Larry's going to probably have a little talk with Rasheed in those last couple shot selections.
Rodney Rogers just came in for the Nets. Richard Jefferson has 2 fouls to the bench. Jefferson 1 of 3 from the field after the 1 of 12 in game 1. And Rogers right into the game with a turnaround jumper.
That's twice. Kidd is entered to the elbow and then set a pick. Normally you don't have a point guard setting a pick, but he's setting a pick on the guy and allowing last time Richard Jefferson, this time Rodney Rogers, to take 1 dribble curl and an uncontested jump shot.
Kind of a simple weave action.
Yeah.
And the only way you get back is by taking good shots. He doesn't like their offensive rebounding so far, Mike.
You can see a little more desperation out of the Nets here in game 2 thus far, Michelle. Fans wanted to travel on Jefferson. The crash of the glass by Rodney Rogers.
That's as high as Rodney Rogers has been out in 7 years.
I think he got a little lift. I think he got a little... Oh, you're right.
Rodney got up for that one.
But it's been one shot attack the rim.
Yep.
They said they were going to do it. If you read between the lines with the Nets, it's exactly what they showed for Rodney Rogers off the bench. Now in transition, a kick ball by the Pistons reset the clock. How about the 11th-year man out of Wake Forest?
Look at this. I mean, he flew. Look, and then on the defensive end, I'm still impressed by that offensive rebound. That was impressive.
They got to get some energy and a good performance off their bench. Lucius Harris and Rogers is 2 guys that they have to get. They don't have anybody else. They're not going to play anybody else.
They only gave him 10 points in game 1, out of bounds with 13 to shoot for the Nets. And remember, when Jason Kidd and Kenyon Martin were hurt in the middle part of March, Harris and Rogers started, and they at least gained more offensive confidence and played pretty well. Yeah.
I mean, 7 teams have come back from 2-0, and 7 teams have come back from 3-1. It's very obviously, history says it's difficult, period. Very, very difficult.
You just don't want to get down 4-2.
Thanks, Tom. Rogers, a rainbow 3 from Rodney Rogers, showing the good range. 33% three-point shooter who's been very off in the playoffs from behind the arc. 2 of 13 until that one. We've had some great finishes down at that basket tonight.
That was a playoff caliber jam right there.
Rogers, nice up and under on Williamson. Back to 2. Let's have Lucius Harris and Rodney Rogers out there. Jason Collins out of the lineup. It's the best offensive unit the Nets can put in there, minus Kerry Kittle. The Nets have scored 18 points in 17 minutes. A lot of one-on-one. Rodney Rogers. Good move to get around Ben Wallace.
Oh, they're just, I mean, it comes down to the fact that in the half court, Detroit has more scoring options than New Jersey does.
Detroit and the penalty. 2 shots for Rogers. He is a 77% free throw shooter. That's 8 for 8 at the line. Well, you can get an all-access look at the NBA playoffs. Tune into the NBA TV playoff show Destination Finals. Every weeknight, 6 o'clock on NBA TV.
Ben Wallace has such great hands. During the regular season, he averages almost 2 steals per game. And that's a big number for a big man up front as center. But that time it cost his team because of the bonus situation.
Reminds me a little bit of Dennis Rodman when he went to the Bulls. Phil Jackson said, I want you to shoot, just at least be a factor. And I think it helps.
Dennis shot the 3 pretty well as it would go. Rogers gets inside. He is fouled.
we saw it take place that time because of the pressure in the backcourt by Detroit. They gave the ball to Richard Jefferson. They let him bring the ball down the floor against Ham. But as soon as he got up over the half court, Detroit jumped him. They wound up with the guard, Hamilton, playing him. A little more pressure, but he did a decent job. Bailed the Nets out that time.
I think it's good strategy by Lawrence Frank because you take advantage of the matchup of Jefferson and Corliss Williamson, who will be guarding him now. You just don't even bother with him. Get him out of there. Let somebody else bring the ball up the floor.
Aaron Williams has come on for the first time. Martin comes up with it. Shot clock down to 5. 1 on the shot clock. Rogers will count. No. Offensive foul. That's 3 on Rogers. So 3 apiece on Rogers and Collins. Rogers has the jump shot initially once again, but elects to put it on the floor. There you see the defensive rotation. Defensive man clearly there outside the defensive zone. It's a charge.
So the Pistons chipping away. They have trailed by as many as 21. It's now a 13-point net lead.
We'll see if that gets him going.
And the Pistons finally get something off the fast break in this game. There is Rodney Rogers posting up against Ben Wallace. The repost to Rogers. And the fall away, and that's his shot.
That's his shot, but you know what? With Ben Wallace on your back, that's a difficult shot. And he did an excellent job of creating space. He gave Wallace a little fake and hit that turnaround. That's a pretty nice shot for Rodney Rogers.
So the lead is Hamilton now with 14 to lead Detroit.
And he's the beneficiary of another great play by Ben Wallace, who gets his hand on the loose ball and actually finds a way to get it to Hamilton. I wonder if they gave him an assist for that. They ought to.
Rogers swings it in for the lay-in. And that's what the Nets want from Rodney Rogers. Ability to hit the outside 3 and the bank shot inside. And again, playing for the last shot, Pistons find themselves trailing by 8.
Well, if you're Detroit, you got to find a way to get back up off the mat, take your game back home to Auburn Hills, and find somebody who can score a basket.
Now is it just the home court now as Rogers battles in the foul? Tell me, you know, you're Larry Brown and you've been around a long time. You've had a 2-0 lead dissipate, and they've shellacked you. And you know what? Steve, we're going to give you a little time to think about this. We're going to go to commercial as Kidd gets congrats on the Pistons bench. And Steve, the question about the Pistons, how do they answer this 2-game barrage?
Well, it's very difficult emotionally. When you have a 2-0 series lead, you're feeling on top of the world. All of a sudden, you lose. You got to get that offense back. And as any Larry Brown team does, they normally move the ball.
One of the reasons why they bypassed Carmelo Anthony for Milicic was the fact that they had Tayshaun Prince, but Tayshaun Prince has not been a factor since game 1 in the series at small forward.
No, he hasn't, and obviously Anthony certainly would look good in this matchup as Rogers knocks down the shot.
We're going to keep an eye on this with 3:50 to go. Richard Hamilton going out of the game because he's been big on both ends of the floor for Detroit tonight. And with him off the floor, we'll see if Detroit can keep this up.
They have more men in double figures tonight than they did in the entire game 4, with Prince with 15, Hamilton with 11. They only had Hamilton with 30.
I think a lot of that has to do with their shot selection. They certainly have controlled the Nets. Great.
63 lead.
And that can't be the shot that New Jersey wanted. A 20-footer by Aaron Williams coming out of the third quarter.
What's the difference between a 1 and a 7 anyway when you cut down with it?
Right.
Who's quibbling? Rodney Rogers spins in for the tying lay-in.
Rodney's legs gave out there and got off the floor about 3 inches.
Rodney Rogers with authority. You got a shot blocker, you can't flip it. He just went with
This is all in the first quarter. 6 dunks in the first quarter.
Not great floor balance, but the Pistons are able to get back.
Well, it's funny, Rip Hamilton, the king of the mid-range, has made a layup and a 3 and missed every shot mid-range.
Rodney Rogers put it on the floor, but he saw Williamson and explodes to the goal. And Larry Brown saying, Memento Court, what are you thinking about? You got to be there to protect the rim.
But what happened on that play is you saw Jason Collins hold Ben Wallace from coming to Rodney Rogers. And yesterday, Larry Brown's coaching staff was complaining about the holding of Collins when Wallace is in the help position.
Teams do have the cap room to give it.
Well, every team in the NBA right now is questioning should you pay anybody the max unless there's top 4 or 5 players in the game of basketball.
Rodney Rogers comes to the basket. Before the shot clock violation, a foul was called. You think about putting the pieces together of championship
as an all-star
team.
caliber point guard. And the defense, the toughness of the early Piston teams.
Wallace finally misses. And when you have a team that got to the Eastern Finals and won 2 years in a row and doesn't get back to that level this year, criticism will be going somewhere. Rodney Rogers at 3 to make it 20. Some will point it to Jason Kidd for forcing the coaching issue.
The GM right there, the New Jersey Nets brought Torrance. But that's the situation. In the NBA, you better have your back of your best player.
Jason Kidd 0 for 7. Rodney Rogers has hit back-to-back threes and getting close. This is what you talked about, Tom. It's within 17 and nearly a turnover that Mike James chases down for Detroit. And Larry Brown doesn't like the way things are going here. Back-to-back threes and cut it. So he takes the timeout. 9:48 to go. The Nets showing a last sign of life. And so it will be inbounded by the Nets. 2 team fouls on the Pistons. None on the Nets. 7 minutes to go. And the lead, 22. Rodney Rogers has had a nice quarter and a nice game. 11 off the New Jersey bench, including 2 threes. 8 of those 11 coming here in the final frame. You saw 6 minutes in to the Game 6 overtime. The Lightning, owned by the same people who own the Pistons, trying to close out the Flyers. That game live on ESPN2. Rodney Rogers is fouled by Rasheed Wallace. Guys, before we look ahead,
they tried to address that situation this year by signing Alonzo Mourning. That did not work out for them. Now they probably will have to maneuver somewhere, I think, in the next few months to find probably a 30-minute player for their front line and also re-sign Kenyon Martin.
Played so hard, and then once again, these problems continue.